I was recently in Colombia with MrBeast and his team. So what we were able to do is we were able to bring them power and electricity and Wi-Fi so that now they can stay on their island. They have access to more information around what's going on in the world. Their kids are able to be better educated utilizing the internet. And then we also built them a bakery because we didn't just want to give them money and resources. We wanted them to make money. That pushes me harder because I know how big the world is. I know how much of a problem there is. And I know that the number one source of issue is power. And if I can help power the planet, I know I'm changing the world.
All right, guys, we're here with Zain Jan. Thank you for coming in.
Of course, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I hope you're liking Vegas. It's a great city.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, of how you got started with solar.
Yeah, man. So I got started with solar super early on. So I was 18 years old. So going back before solar, I had a very tough upbringing. My parents both were immigrants. I came here as a first generation American. I came here when I was 6 months old, and I grew up in a 500 square foot project. So basically what would happen was every single day I'd wake up, I'd open up my window and there was another brick building, and that was my view. So today I always tell people I live right now in a penthouse. I have the blue ocean in front of me, literally nothing else in sight but the blue ocean. And that was the first thing I did. Was when I got success, I went for a view. So looking back, you know, I grew up in this 500 square foot project. My dad was a taxi driver. My mom worked layaway at Marshall. So we literally had no money. We had nothing. And my entire life, my parents probably made 25 to 30 grand at most. So it was a very tough upbringing because I grew up in an environment where there was a heroin and opioid epidemic. It was actually the largest heroin epidemic per capita in the United States. Wow. And while I was living there, I didn't necessarily know what drugs were, but I was surrounded by people that had overdoses. I'd wake up, walk outside, kick a needle on the floor, be like, "Mom, what's that?" She's like, "Oh, no, it's nothing. Ignore it." Yeah. So I grew up with that. But at the same time, I grew up in an Islamic household where my parents were Muslim. So I had the strict discipline and religion and culture of you can't drink, you can't do drugs. Yeah. You can't do the wrong things. You have to be ethical. You can't steal. But then I would leave and I'd go to school and I'd be like, oh, my friend's dad's a drug dealer and my friend does this. And, you know, you would see all these things. So it was a cross between both worlds, you know, growing up in America and you could say a bad community to also growing up in an Islamic household where they're very strict and my parents never had a sip of alcohol or never did drugs. So it was both kind of polar opposites and extremes. But I was always someone who knew that I wanted to do something big. I just didn't know what it was. As I grew up, I was an absolute menace. I was just always fucking around, getting in trouble, getting kicked out of school, suspended for everything, being in trouble. And one of the things that really bothered me was the system of school and the infrastructure. I hated when people told me what to do and I was not influenced by them or I didn't look up with them. You know, I would see my teachers leave. They didn't seem happy. They didn't seem excited. They'd go into their old beat up car and I'd be like, that's not who I want to be. Yeah. Why do I want to learn from that person? So as I got older, first business I ever had was selling drugs. So at 13 to 14 years old, I did weed for the first time. After smoking weed for the first time, I moved on to selling it. At 14 years old, I bought my first pack of mids. It was $150 of an ounce of weed. And I sold it for $200, made my first $50 and learned my first lesson in economics. Then as I got older, had a very pivotal moment happen in my life where my mom had a stroke. She had a brain aneurysm. She had a blood clot the size of an orange in her head, blasted in her head. And she was on a recovery process for about 2 years, 6 months in a coma where I couldn't even talk to her and she wasn't awake. So that made me realize more than anything how powerful stress can be. The doctor said that stress was the reason that all of that had happened to her. So as time went on, I was like, dude, I'm her stress. I'm the biggest problem because number one, I'm fucking up. She thinks I'm going to have a bad life. And number two, she doesn't have money. And that's why she wants me to be successful. So I realized right there and then that I needed to acquire success by any means necessary. Now, also what happened was we learned what survival was. Why? Because my parents, again, weren't making a lot of money, but then you lose my mom's income, which is 40 to 50% of our household income. And then my dad's attention put into helping my mom and going to the hospital every day to see her. Now we're down, 60 to 70% on income. So in a family like mine where everything's paycheck to paycheck, we really had to hunker down. So now I actually had to kick it up a notch, sell more drugs just so I can make more money to support myself and help my family out. At 18 years old, my mom's biggest dream and goal was for me to go to college. And when she came out of her coma, she always asked me, like, did you get into college? What college are you going to, et cetera? I had a 2.0 GPA, zero chances of getting into any school. So I made a decision, and that was, I'm going to make my mom proud, but I'm not going to go to some community college. I don't want to be some, fucking broke bum who goes to community college. I just always look down upon it. I want to be someone that goes to a good school if I do go to school, and it's not for me, it's for my mom. So I got into a school with a 3.5 GPA. It was the University of Rhode Island. That was the average GPA for the school. I had a 2.0, and how I got in was I wrote down in the essay my entire story about selling drugs, what happened, and what I went through with my mom, hoping that someone on the admissions team would actually accept me, and they did. 18 years old, I go to college, and I get back into just doing hustling. I'm selling drugs, I'm doing real estate, and I'm doing bar and club promotion. And then also I'm getting high on my own supply. So I'm smoking weed every day. I'm doing coke almost every day, doing Xanax at night, and then, Adderall in the day to stay laser focused, and drinking coffee. You put all those together, you have a crazy concoction, and just did that nonstop, almost like on a binge, kept going, until one day I realized, like, that's not who I am. I don't want to be known as the kid that's a drug dealer or a hustler. That's not going to leave me a strong legacy. So I made a very strong decision. I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I'm done. I'm going to never touch a drug again. I'm never going to drink alcohol. And I went completely cold turkey, and I stopped from that day, and I went forward. And that was kind of my first initial kind of push on sobriety. And I kept it up. Since then, I've never had a drug problem. I've never had a drinking problem. I have nothing. And that's all because one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I made a decision to stop. I stopped. I now channeled my obsession from going out partying and hustling all the way into finding the right vehicle. A friend hit me up. He was like, dude, I just made 20 grand last week selling solar. Would love to teach you how to do it. I said, bullshit. We met up for dinner. He showed me his check. I said, dude, checks can be fake and bounce. Show me your actual money. Pulls out of his Bank of America, shows me the 20 G's deposited. Just like in the Wolf of Wall Street, I made the decision to leave and go work for him all in and drop out. I drop out, I make that full decision to leave, and then I move forward, and I start selling solar, knocking doors. Now, knocking doors was the best thing I could have ever done, because if you learn how to sell anything knocking doors, you will achieve ultimate success. I always tell people that are 18 years old, if you want to be successful and you want to go through the hardest sale in your life, go and knock doors, because you will face the hardest and most utmost rejection that you will ever see in your life, and you will never see rejection at a higher level. Why? Because when we come on this podcast, right, you can at least, you're introduced to me, you know who I am, or you've seen a video or something like that. You have the ability to prepare to communicate with me. But with other people, when you're knocking doors, you don't have the ability to prepare to communicate for what situation is going to happen behind that door. So when I go to knock that door, what happens? Every home is different. Every door is different. Sometimes they tell me, get the fuck off my porch, motherfucker. Sometimes they go into, oh, hey, would you like some water? But I'm not interested. You get every type of thing. I've had a gun pulled on me. I've been chased out with a drill out of a door. Like, dude, I've had some interesting, unique moments. But that rejection is what made me who I am. So I went from door to door. That was the first part of it. Then to becoming the best door-to-door sales rep. That was my first goal, was achieve mastery through being the best door-to-door rep. That's sales. Then I knew, okay, I need to make more money. I can't just sell my own product. I need to teach other people to sell. So that's where I became a sales leader. That was my evolution from originally being like an employee, then becoming a salesperson, becoming the best salesperson, and then becoming a sales leader and teaching other people how to sell. Now, fast forward to today, I run one of the largest residential solar installers in the nation. We have over 600 W-2 employees, over 3,000 salespeople, and 71 companies that sell through us. And we install solar all across different parts of the United States.
Damn, that's a great story, man. I mean, I came from the same background, struggles with the same thing. And I was actually telling one of my friends today, when you make it and you're going to this like expensive dinners, driving your supercars, do you ever have a moment where you think about one specific like struggle that you can think about and you can say it on the podcast?
Yeah, no, for sure. So my biggest struggle for sure always was when I would go outside, I wouldn't have money to spend. Yeah. And I had a Bank of America debit card, and I would go, and it was a joke with all my friends because every time we'd put our debit card in, we were just waiting to see if it worked or not. We didn't know if it was going to hit. Yeah. Because we didn't have enough money. Damn. It was always like our account's either overdraft or not, or whatever. It might be negative. So I just remember those moments. I remember I went to a coffee place in Cohasset, Massachusetts. Really nice coffee place with $4 iced coffees that I really liked. It's called Mary Lou's. Went in there with my friend. We put in the card and it didn't hit. And it was rejected. And I remember just looking at my friend being like so embarrassed and being like, we have to change this situation. I can't be in this situation anymore. I can't be the broke motherfucker that puts his card in, it gets denied, and I look like an absolute idiot. I need to be someone that takes that, and I need to actually create something for myself. So today, when I'm on a $100,000 one-way plane ride, or I'm driving one of my cars, or buying a $300,000 watch, it's like, yeah, it's crazy to me. But what was crazy to me was where I started and where I've gotten to. So what's crazier to me now is like, where else am I going to go and how far can I get? And now it's an unlimited goal. I have no goal. When people tell me, oh, Zain, what's the dollar figure? There is no dollar figure. Dollar figure is to be number one on planet Earth. And that's what I believe God has put me here to do.
Yeah. So like with running a company like this, right, at the biggest scales you can, there's a lot of politics, right?
Yeah.
So how do you like deal with that? Because in Vegas, like I'll be honest with you, I know many people that sell solar, has solar companies, and they just go to different companies every single year.
Yeah.
So how do you like keep your employees and keep
You have
them
to be the
motivated?
best. You have to be the best, and you have to have the biggest vision. The good thing with what I do is I'm a residential solar installer. So all of my sales and my business is done through the quality of my product. I do not subcontract work. I do not work with other vendors. We create our own product essentially. So I know that the quality of my business and the success of my business is reliant upon my product and my service. How good is it? If you deliver a good product, you will be successful. Apple would not sell the amount of iPhones that they do every single year if they had a shitty product. The reason they sell so many iPhones is because they have an amazing product. So for us, it's being extremely intentional about creating the best product. You create the best product and salespeople knock at your door. For me, it's every single day. Every solar company you can think of, guarantee you, they know who I am 110%. Ask a solar company and be like, do you know who Zain Jan is? They will say, yes, they know who Zain is.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm anything special. It's because I have taken an industry, I've coordinated, I've dominated it, and I have created what I believe is the best product in the industry. And when you create the best product, other people hear about it to a point today where if I need new sales, I have a massive list of people knocking down my door that want to work with us.
Oh, that's pretty great. And I believe the same way that you said, and the best people to have in your company like that is great. So when you first started the company, right? What was your goal like initially? Like what number did you have in mind?
Yeah, dude, again, back to it. I never had a single number. There was never just one number that I wanted to hit. My number was always, how can I be as big as possible? I was on a podcast yesterday where this guy asks me, he goes, what do you think about entrepreneur executive plans to exit? Basically an exit strategy. You always hear in business, right? You'll hear entrepreneurs tell you, have an exit strategy, have an exit plan. I'm like, fuck that shit. I have no exit plan. I have no end in sight. Why? Because I believe the minute that you create end in sight, you are waiting for the death. That's how I look at it. It's being like, oh, what day are you going to die, Mo? Oh, I'm going to die on, September 6th of 2094. It's like, okay, you just decided your expiration. I believe businesses are valued based on how great are the systems and the people inside the business and how replicatable are they? And do they need the entrepreneur who founded them running them? And I don't believe so. So when I started my business, my first goal was how do I build a massive business that does at least $100 million a year, right? That was the first goal. Does $100 million a year, but does not need me. Every year it can grow at least 30 to 40%, and I could be on vacation somewhere across the planet and it would still continue to grow. Not because I wanted to take a vacation, but because I knew that that's how businesses are valuable. That was the first step. When I hit my first 100 million annually, and I just knew, I remember I actually hit my first 100 million annually, and then I was on a vacation, and I remember I didn't have to look at my phone. I didn't have to talk to anyone. No fires I needed to put out. Of course, I put myself into the fire, but it didn't need me. Why? Because I have an amazing team that's able to solve all that stuff. So the next vision is far beyond that. That was the first step. The next vision is be number one in our space. We're top 15 in the US for all residential installers. The first few companies on the list, top 1, 2, and 3, are all publicly traded multi-billion-dollar companies. So now I'm basically fighting every single day to get to number one. I've done what I've done in under 4 years. All my competitors in the top 15 have taken at least a decade to do it. So I'm definitely moving at an extremely fast pace and building a big company. Last year we did $150 million in revenue. This year we're on pace to do at least $300 million, and we're shooting for $400 million in revenue. So a big part of what I push on a daily basis is being the best versions of ourselves. Once we're able to accomplish number one in the solar industry, the vision will completely flip to how do we go around and how do we power every single home in the world. We want to electrify planet Earth because we believe that there is nothing more dominant than the sun. Why? Because when I walk outside here, the sun hits me. If the sun ever goes away and we don't have sun, you and I are both dead.
Yeah.
Life
true.
doesn't exist. But what do people do right now? They go and they work with a utility company. When you move into your house, what do? You call a utility company, and the first thing that you set up is usually your utility. Why? Because you need your water, you need your gas, you need your lights, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you call your utility company, you're not asking them to sell you on a plan. You're calling them and they're like, okay, what's your social security? What's your date of birth? We're setting you up. There is zero sales experience and zero sales process in it. Why? Because it's what's called a natural monopoly. You are forced, based on where you live in most parts of the world, to be going with one utility company that is usually government controlled. And what's really scary for me is when you go to third world countries, you know that they always have power outages and problems, not because they just don't have reliable power or the technology or infrastructure to do it. A lot of times because the government is controlling it and there's a lot of corruption going on there. So I believe electricity is the number one way that people can control your freedom, because if they want you to do something, they're going to control you. Look at Los Angeles. When COVID first happened, they didn't want people having indoor gatherings. So what did the mayor of LA say? I think his name's Eric Garcetti. He was like, I want to stop all of this. So what's the best way to do it? Oh, very easy. Why don't I turn off people's power? Then he made an announcement where he said, if you have a party in Los Angeles, we will turn off your electricity. That is the first step of control and their plan and their mission. They will do everything in their power to figure out how they can control you. And power is the first way that they can turn you off. Because let's say you want to make a message on Facebook. Let's say you want to make a tweet on TikTok. On Twitter. Let's say you want to go and you want to post something on TikTok. What do you need? You need Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's Wi-Fi run on? Power. Well, if you don't have power, you don't have Wi-Fi, you have no communication to the world and you have no control. And I really believe that that is why for so long the utility companies have used an old, archaic, outdated system, because they have had no incentive or no competition to change. For the first time ever, they have competition to change. Right now, 4% of the United States is powered by solar. We want to get that to 100%, and we are just getting started. So my mission is continue to push that along, because I believe this is the way that we actually change the world. I was recently in Colombia with MrBeast and his team. So MrBeast's team, they did a video with us. We actually just dropped it a few days ago. It's got 5 million views in 3 to 4 days. And what we did on that was we went to a remote island in Colombia and we powered it up. They have times where they go over 3 months without electricity. They have no access to consistent electricity. They don't have access to clean water. They have to shower outside, inside of the water on their little lake. It's an island. They have to, go to the bathroom outside in the woods, piss and poop outside on the woods. And that's their life, and that's what they're used to. If they want to eat food, they throw a net into the water, they cast some fish, they put it on a fire, and they eat it. They can't refrigerate it because they don't have consistent electricity. So what we did was we brought them electricity. We built a solar microgrid with batteries. We brought them Wi-Fi, because now when they have cell phones, they have to go across on a piece of wood on this water to the mainland. They have to walk 7 or 8 miles to get a bar of service. Then they download all these TikTok videos, and then they bring it back and they all watch it as a community. That's their form of entertainment. So what we were able to do is we were able to bring them power and electricity and Wi-Fi, so that now they can stay on their island. They have access to more information around what's going on in the world. Their kids are able to be better educated utilizing the internet. And then we also built them a bakery, because we didn't just want to give them money and resources. We wanted them to make money. So we built them a bakery where they can cook fresh bread, fresh food, and they can go to the mainland and they can sell that and make money and bring commerce to their community.
Yeah, I actually saw that video recently.
Yeah.
I think I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, even from the camera, like the smiles they had after having a power is crazy. And I believe you went there too, right?
Yeah, I was there. I was out there for 4 or 5 days, literally sleeping in a hammock. It rained on us at night because we're sleeping outside. 90+ degree weather outside, extremely humid. Installing solar myself and doing the labor and appreciating what it's like to live in their environment for 4 to 5 days. I can arguably say one of the hardest experiences of my life. I am positive when I say this, and this is going to sound crazy. You probably live better in an American jail cell than they do every single day. And that's wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
American jail cell is better than where they live every day. But when you ask them, how's life? They are the happiest people ever. They think they have the best life ever. I asked them, would you ever want to come to America? They're like, no. Why? They're like, Americans are weird. They're like, we hear people in America kill themselves. Like, they were so shocked at the concept of suicide because it made no sense to them why anyone would ever harm or kill themselves. Like, they just didn't even understand that concept. So for me, doing that, it was such an eye-opener because I'm just like, people sit here and they're worried about, oh my God, what Susan said on Instagram, or how do I look, or my video, or how do I sound, or my God, this fucking Wi-Fi sucks, or I'm calling this company and they're not answering. And you got people across the world that are living through harsh situations and they're completely fine with a smile on their face. We saw girls there. These are little 6-year-old girls that are working and shoveling and digging up stuff and doing work. And we're like, dude, we got guys from the United States coming here doing construction, and this 6-year-old girl is stronger than this fucking 30-year-old guy. That's literally like how life is. So to me, I'm inspired by that. That pushes me harder because I know how big the world is. I know how much of a problem there is. And I know that the number one source of issue is power. And if I can help power the planet, I know I'm changing the world.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, I kind of motivated me when I watched that video too. So I'm going to take it back a little bit. So if you didn't have the struggle back when you were younger, or you migrated, you lived in a third world country, right? Do you think you still have that hunger in you where you scaled the business up to this point? Or if you grew up in America, like let's say American family, right, having that American dream, would you think you would still be here at where you scaled your business at?
Yeah, people ask me that all the time. And the number one answer I give is sure. Growing up the way I did has given me an amazing amount of hunger to be the person I am. And I would never take that back because I don't know what that would do to me. But I believe every person on planet Earth, especially men, are born to struggle. We have to struggle. The thing is, at that time, right, I was struggling. Today, I'm still struggling. I build a massive company. I have the nicest things, but I'm still struggling every day. And I like to put myself into situations of struggle. Sure, the struggle's different. At that point, it was paying the bills and making money in order to survive. Today, my struggles are completely different, but the struggles continue to go. So I always tell people it's not about how much money you make or where you started. It's about the distance that you travel from the point that you started. I started from zero. Even if I just made one little tiny million, right, from zero, I would have had this massive incremental growth. It would be absolutely insane because I started from zero. But for a guy that starts with $1 million, people get triggered when I say this, but I just did a video on Donald Trump where I was like, he got $1 million loan from his father to now go and build $1 billion real estate and entertainment enterprise. People are like, but yeah, his dad had connections and his dad gave him $1 million loan and daddy's money. No. There's so many people in that situation that would become a drug addict, overdose, kill themselves, and die. True. In fact, his brother actually died from alcoholism. His brother was a drunk and actually died from that. A lot of people don't know that. But what happens, a lot of people just blame people and they're like, oh, this person has it better than me. The only reason I'm not successful is because I didn't have what they have. My mentality was never that. My mentality always with everyone is, doesn't matter where you start. You literally could be born into a billionaire family. It's what do you do with that? Are you continuing to grow and move that legacy forward? Happened to be that I started with a legacy that was way over here and there wasn't money and there wasn't connections and all that stuff didn't exist. But my goal when I get older, of course, my kids are going to live a great life. They have a father who's a billionaire. They have a father who's going to take care of them and put them in a great situation. But they have to carry the torch. They have to move it forward. They have to keep the legacy going. That's my mentality with anyone. So yes, fueled me. It made me who I am, but just another part of the journey. God's put us all here to use our minds and our capabilities and our potential to their fullest. And a lot of people, they don't do that. And a big reason that they don't do that is they make an excuse to why someone else has something that they don't. You know, the difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person. There's a lot of unsuccessful people that do okay in business. Tons. I know a lot of them. I know guys that make $1 million a year that I consider unsuccessful in business. I'll tell you the differences. The ultra successful people that see growth year over year, don't have the same problems that other people do, and continue to evolve in business, they have one common trait. they take full and total responsibility and ownership. Whenever something goes wrong, it's their fault. If someone leaves my company, it's my fault. If a customer has an issue in my company, it's my fault. No matter what, I will always take full responsibility and ownership. Other people, what do they do when they're unsuccessful? They blame others. Yeah. What do they say? Oh, I'm not successful because of this company. I'm not successful because of this employee. And they point fingers at everyone around them.
Or saturated.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, the market's saturated. Yeah. You know, how many times you hear that? Oh, the market. Oh, the market. Oh, this. The fuck? I see people like that and I slap them in the face because I'm like, dude, you're being a pussy. Straight up. That's how I look at it. Yeah. You are not strong enough. You do not have enough mental fortitude to go through this. That's why you are blaming other people. And that's what unsuccessful people do. Successful people don't blame anyone and they take full and total ownership. And then they achieve success.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you with that because when I first started my business with my friends, we're all into like this car group. Like we modified our cars and I was getting into Amazon FBA and they're like, oh, the market, everything is saturated. You're not going to make any money. You're going to struggle. You're going to get scammed, right? And guess what? Those friends are reaching out to me now. They're like, oh, I need help with my Amazon store.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't even respond to these people because those are not even serious clients.
Yeah.
They're like, what I realize is that a client will become your friend more than a friend will become a client.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that
sure.
before?
Yeah, for sure, man.
So I strongly believe that. But yeah, so another thing I wanted to ask you, how did the collab happen with MrBeast?
Yeah, so MrBeast just reached out to us. So his team, it wasn't him personally. Yeah. His team, his head of philanthropy, his name is Darren. He's a really good guy. He's become a dear friend of mine. We actually have multiple projects planned with them next. If you don't follow Beast Philanthropy, definitely follow Beast Philanthropy. They're doing amazing things. They just did a video helping amputees. They went into a country and I think they helped 1,000 people, essentially people who had lost their legs or lost their limbs, and giving them prosthetics and being able to help them. They helped cure a lot of people's vision, people that went blind and lost their vision. They help their people that have no shoes. You go to a lot of these countries, people don't even have shoes. We're lucky you're sitting here with your Balenciagas. I'm sitting here with my Tiffany's. Yeah. I go to this country. I'm in this island in Colombia, and I notice a lot of them are wearing one shoe. And I'm asking them, why are you wearing one shoe? And they're like, yeah, we put that on our dominant foot, and then we share the other one with someone else. Just because they can't even afford one pair, and they wear the same pair for probably like 10, 15 years. Wow. So when you look at that, right, the world's crazy. So MrBeast team reached out because we had the Colombia trip planned. We're partnered with a foundation called Give Power, and we always go very frequently across the world, and we do these mission trips where executives like me, there's always a executive from the company that goes, and a lot of our employees, and we don't just donate the money, but we actually put our hands into the project to see it come to life because you really appreciate it more. So they really love the mission of Give Power and what we were doing there. So they reached out and they set it up with us and they said, let's start this project. From there on, hopped on a bunch of Zooms with their team to plan out everything, showed up day one, and we had a full documentary crew like ready to go and film. We filmed the whole thing. This was probably 2 to 3 months ago, and it just recently got released a few days ago. And we plan to do at least 2 more of those projects with them this year. So it was honestly, I believe everything happens for a reason. And we put so much good effort and energy into the world. We work so fucking hard every single day that when you want something, you will get it. And I always used to tell people, one day I want to collaborate with MrBeast. One day I want to work with MrBeast. This guy knows what he's doing because I respect successful people. He's the #1 YouTuber on planet Earth. He has the most eyeballs out of any single person that you or I have ever seen or talked to. This guy is the fucking GOAT. Like, people think Tom Brady's a GOAT or Leonardo DiCaprio. No. Fucking MrBeast. No one gets more attention than that guy, and he's a genius. So I was like, I want to do something with him. And then out of nowhere, a few months later, I literally have the text still. It's a text of someone being like, hey, MrBeast and his team are asking if they can join you for this project. And I'm like, asking? Of course they can join us for this project. And now it's turned into a great friendship and relationship, and we hope to do a lot more of that soon. Yeah,
I believe more you get back, the more
always
you receive. Like, both of my parents were Muslim, and they always taught me that.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to ask, like, growing up in a household, like, struggling, right? Like I really believe that, because same thing for me. My dad worked for like 10 years before he started his first business, which was he opened up a quick stop, right?
Yep.
Every brown parents,
Yeah,
they
exactly.
do that, right?
That's their dream.
That's their dream.
My dad always wanted that shit, but he never made it happen.
Yeah.
He never got it. He had to stay in the taxi,
Gotcha.
but that was always his goal, was to open up a store.
Yeah, my dad had like 7 brothers, so they kind of helped him out. So
They all work together,
they all work
right?
together.
Yeah. That's what it is. Like when my dad first came to this country, I think he told me it was him and 14 other immigrants lived in one apartment.
Oh wow.
And they all just slept on the floor.
Yeah,
that's like how they came
They
up.
still do that.
Yeah.
They still is.
Yeah.
And especially in Dubai. I don't know if you know the struggles in Dubai.
It's crazy.
There's a lot
out there.
of immigrants that come and work at one spot, and they only have Fridays off.
Correct.
And they definitely struggle. They send all the money they make back home.
They have to, and that's the only way they can do it.
Yeah. So the question I had about growing up as a strict parents, right? I'm sure you had strict parents.
Yeah.
They're Muslim, they were strict.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, like, I got beat up as a kid by both of my parents, both of my brothers.
I got whipped with the belts. I got slapped. I got hit with the shoes, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I actually wish it wasn't so frowned upon, because I was a fucking knucklehead, and it made me straighten out, and I love that. And I think every man and woman should go through some level of discipline in their life, and it's really sad to see that today, like, everything is so sensitive and strict, and you can't do this and you can't do that. I think there's definitely some things that we've learned from as a society, and there's things that are good and we've made positive progressions, but I think there's a lot of things that we're going in the wrong direction on.
Yeah, I believe so too, because when I tell these stories to my friends here in America, they're like, "Oh, do you have childhood trauma?" I was like, "Hell no, I don't have childhood trauma."
Are you dude, I get this crazy, right? Especially when people talk about depression. People freak out with the D word, depression. They're like, Zain, I made a post one time where I was like, depression's not real. It's all in your mind. And people are like, oh my God, did he really just say this? You're about to get canceled. Like, people went off. People are like, you don't know what clinical depression is. You don't know what this is. I'm like, guys, I just spent 5 days in Colombia and none of these motherfuckers were depressed.
Yeah.
Why are you depressed sitting in your, apartment with nice air conditioning, sitting on your fluffy fucking pillow, sleeping? Why are you depressed? Oh, trauma. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, my girlfriend broke up with me. Oh, my boyfriend cheated on me. It's like, dude, do you know what our ancestors went through? Good thing depression's not real, because I'd probably be depressed right now.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? When I work every day, there's problems, there's fire, there's issues. I could label anything that happens in my life depression. Oh, I'm depressed, dude.
Yeah.
Had a really tough day. Employee left me out. I'm depressed. It was so hard. Oh my God. I came back home and my Wi-Fi is not working. I'm so depressed. That's how people are, dude. And they fucking tell themselves these things. I always tell this to people around me when they're like, dude, I'm just feeling sick. I'm like, dude, every week I meet you, you're telling me that you're feeling fucking sick. No wonder you're sick every week. You tell it to me every week. You tell me you're depressed every week. No wonder you keep getting depressed. You were talking to yourself, telling yourself that you are depressed. And it gets me pissed off, because I'm like, dude, you don't know what other people go through in this world. You don't know the struggles that they fight for. They fight to just eat every day. Yeah. They're not thinking about depression. They're thinking about their next meal. You have this luxury. You have amazing doctors. You have a nice car. You have air conditioning house. You have a supporting family. What excuse do you have? People are like, we can't control it. It's clinical. I can tell you one thing. I've never had depression, but I've felt really down. I've had moments where I feel really bad. I have moments where I feel really weak. And you want to know what I do in those moments? I get the fuck up and I go to work. And when I go and I work and I feel like shit, and when I go and I work when I feel good, nothing changes in my work, because I know that they are not correlated. So yes,
just show up.
Am I always happy? No. I actually don't even believe that exists. I get really turned off by people that when I meet them and like they don't stop smiling. You ever meet those people who are just like, hi, Nin. Yeah. Very, very nice to meet you, Zain. How's it going? I'm like, dude, I don't trust this motherfucker. What's he gonna rob me? When he walks out of my house, let me check this fucking bitch's pockets. What did he take?
Yeah.
You know, I don't trust people like that. But who I do trust is people that do go through emotions, but they have control over those emotions, and they always act logically no matter what's going on in their life. If there's problems, they act logically. If things are going good, they still act logically. This happens a lot in sales. Salespeople are always like, I hate my job. I want to find what I'm passionate about. What are you passionate about? Oh, Zain, I'm passionate about playing the fucking flute. Oh, you're passionate about playing the flute. Okay, cool. Go and play the flute for your life. Yeah, but Zain, by the way, man, I really like your Lambo. I want to get one of those one day. You just told me that you don't want to sell, but you want to play the fucking flute and you want a Lambo. Tell me what you want. Figure it out. Passion is not real. You create your own passion. I'm ignited every day. I wasn't born with the sign on my head that said solar. I figured it out. Right?
Yeah,
so a lot of people, it's like they just get wound up in this, especially in sales. Like I was saying, they have a day where they do really good and they get, some sales and they're super excited, dude. And they go and they go to fucking Louis Vuitton and they buy their first Louis Vuitton belt and they walk out and then, they see a Versace store. Oh, let me put on the Versace shades. Oh, I'm going to go buy my first watch. And then boom, the next day they get rejected and that deal doesn't close. And they're like, bro, I don't know, man. My pipeline's just bad and my customers suck and the market's saturated, and dude, they go through this cycle and that changes their performance, and they ask themselves, why is my life like a roller coaster? Why am I sometimes on the up and why am I sometimes on the down? It's because you change the way you operate. No matter how I feel, I will always operate the same, and that is with extreme speed and urgency.
Yeah. So how do you stay like consistent with that? Because I know many people, like I have friends that made, let's say, $3 million in 1 year, right? And then next month they don't. Next year they make less. It's because like I see some of them, they get way too comfortable. They
content, dude. Content. Yeah. What happens? Okay, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna party. I'm gonna blow my money. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then what happens? I start making money, and then I meet Susan. Oh, who's Susan? Well, Susan's your girlfriend. Oh, Susan moves in. Susan starts telling you, hey, Mo, we got to go on more vacations. I'm bored. And then Mo's sitting there like, okay, let's go on vacation. And then you go on fucking vacation and then you come back. And then Susan's like, hey, Mo, you got to spend more time with me. You're working too hard. And then Susan tells you, hey, those guys you work with, I don't like them. I don't know. They're too greedy. And then these guys, these fucking losers, they just go, and I've seen this so many times in my life where a girl in a relationship controls them, or even a guy. I know chicks that are killers that sell a ton of deals, and their dude is at home being a fucking loser, bringing them down. And I'm just like, if you want to be successful, you have to show up every single day, no matter what, whether it rains or whether it's sun outside and it's shining. You have to show up every day. And a lot of people struggle with that. Why? Because they listen to people around them. They talk to their mom and their mom's like, oh, Johnny boy, you're doing too good. Everything's great. Oh, you're living a great life. Relax. It's the weekend. You work so hard. And you hear these voices over and over again. It's your mom here, and it's your dad there, and it's your girlfriend there, and it's your buddy Jimmy who you used to rip bongs with back in the day there. And they're all telling you this shit. And what happens is you start to become a product of your environment. But imagine if you chilled with me every day. And I just called you a fucking I went out with you to the store. And I bought a $300,000 watch. And you saw me, and you're like, damn, dude, like, that's wild. This dude just dropped what people spend on a house. Average American spends on a house in a minute, and he made a instantaneous decision. It was the 60-second decision. He didn't consult anyone. He just went and he made that decision. Dude, how did he do that? Let me start to study him. Let me learn what he does. Let me watch his habits. Let me see how he acts. Let me see how he communicates. Let me see how he's on calls. Let me see how he's in meetings. And then you come to me and you're like, oh, Zain, I have this problem. And I tell you, bro, you're being a loser. You're being a bitch. Stop. Don't listen to that bullshit. Get out of here with that negativity. you'll start to become a killer. You'll stop complaining. You'll stop being emotional, and you'll start winning. It's who you're with. It's that group
environment.
And there's a lot of successful people that aren't that. I know a lot of successful people that are content and comfortable. Sorry, successful, not successful. Successful.
Yeah.
People that have some money, but they haven't actually achieved true freedom, because freedom is not measured by the amount of money you have. Freedom is, what are you actually doing in your life? Do you have purpose? For me, I have purpose. Every day I show up, it's not to add another dollar in the bank account. It's to further progress my mission. And my mission is so big, there's a pretty good chance to probably never accomplish it in my lifetime. Very good chance. Odds are stacked up against me. But it's big enough to where I'll never stop.
Yeah. So, like, with that, like, I know I have a lot of friends, right? Like I just said before, I have a friend in Miami who made multi-million dollars because of a chick that he met. He almost went to jail. He was in house arrest for like a whole year.
Wow.
I'm not going to name drop him, but it's just like sad to see that, because he was a really good friend of mine. He went into the same space I did because I told him to, and he made a lot of money. And I agree with you 110% on that. A chick or a friend can definitely ruin your life.
Yeah, the right one can put you on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, if we're best friends, I promise you, we put you on the moon.
Yeah.
But the wrong one can bring you down. So for me, I'm always auditing who's around me. I'm very serious about this. If we go to dinner with someone, you could say as little as just the wrong thing to me. Yeah. I never want to see you again. I don't want you in my life.
How long does it take for you to read people?
A second.
A second.
A second. I walk into a room, dude, and I read motherfuckers right away. And I'm just like, dude, this dude's a fucking... And sometimes I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's guys who I thought I would never be friends with and I really like. Yeah. And we become friends later. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect with it. Yeah. But I read people quickly and I make decisions quickly. And I'm very serious about those that are around me. And if you notice, everyone that's around me, they know that they have to be on top of their shit. I don't allow people that aren't on top of their shit. When you fuck up, dude, like, you feel like you just stole something and a police officer is looking at you. I do not like people fucking up.
Are all your friends like entrepreneurs?
A lot of my friends. Yeah, I would say most of my friends are entrepreneurs. Okay. What are friends? Yeah. That's how I look at it. What are friends? You're my friend. You're my friend. You're my friend. You're my friend. Yeah. I got a million fucking friends, dude. I got friends everywhere. I'm cool with everyone. Wherever I go, whatever city I enter, whatever place I go, I know someone and I'm friends with everyone.
Yeah. I look at friends as friends with benefits, not the other kind that people talk about. If I'm your friend...
Are you guys friends with benefits?
I mean...
you guys banging after here? No?
we have to, you know... I have to have a value, you know? We have to exchange value. I can't be around Vegas and partying with people to just party, you know? Vegas is a type of city, though. Like, I don't know if you know this. A dude that has a $10 in their bank account, they could go out partying, comp dinners, comp nightclub. They could look like they're millionaires. Yeah. But they don't have any money in their bank account. Yeah. Like, I realized that year one living here. Yeah. And you can definitely let yourself go in Vegas. Yeah. And in Miami too, I would say.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
But really anywhere, right? Like, sure, it's easier. There's more distractions and temptations in a place like Vegas and Miami. But, you know, really anywhere in the world, people let themselves go and they do the wrong shit, right? Where I grew up, people let themselves go, but in a different way. The way they let themselves go is a fucking needle in their arm. Yeah. Right? So everyone's different. But what you have to do is you have to choose who you surround yourself with. And for some people, that's no one. For some people, they're not in the position to be around anyone that's the right person. Yeah. So what do they have to do? They got to be alone. They got to be alone until they get into the right room with the right people.
Yeah, that's true. And one question I also have to ask you is, when did you get your first deal or first yes after knocking on how many doors?
It's a good question. Yeah. I could lie to you here and give you an exact figure. I never counted that. Yeah. But I would say it was at least, at minimum, no less, alone especially. I got deals, but I was with someone who was trained, who was getting them, right? Gotcha. Alone, when I went to knock by myself, it was at least 130 or 140 doors before I got my first deal. Okay. Knock doors.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of struggle people can't handle.
And then when I got really good, right, I went 140 to 100 to 80 to, then I got to a point where, like, dude, I felt like I was a magician. I would knock a door and they would just say yes. And it was like, if I wanted 3 sales in a day, cool. I knock 5 doors. Yeah. 3 people are home and I get 3 sales.
Yeah. I believe like for salespeople, everybody's a salesman, right?
Yeah.
Even the United States of the president has to sell himself to be able to, get elected, right?
Correct.
So what's one sales advice do you have like you can give like to people who's selling solar?
Put all your sales material down. Put down your persuasion and your NLP and your special lines. Fuck all that bullshit. Go all in on your product and become obsessed with that product, or don't sell it. I believe in conviction. I can sell anything in the world that I believe in. I can tell anyone in here, if there's a product that I believe in, I guarantee you I can sell it to you. I can know nothing about the product and I can sell it to you. I was selling my bed the other day. I have a mattress. It's called 8 Sleep. 8 Sleep is a special mattress where when you sleep on it, it's like a $5,000 mattress. When you sleep on it, there's an app, and on that app, it tells you your entire sleep performance. It tells you the peaks of your sleep and when your sleep was bad. It tells you your heart rate variable. It also can make the mattress cooler or warmer. So utilizing technology, what it does is it sees how you sleep the best. So like it'll test you cold, it'll test you hot, and then it'll go on what's called autopilot, where it will literally choose and change the temperature. It'll be like, oh, Zain, you need to start your bed cold, because what happens when you start cold is you can get into a deeper sleep, but then when you're in a deeper sleep, being cold is going to wake you up, so we're going to move you to a warmer temperature. And it maximizes your sleep performance, and it also tells you how many hours you sleep, the whole 9 yards, right?
Yeah.
And then I was sitting down in the barber shop the other day, and I own a barber shop now with my barber, billionaire barber. He's a celebrity barber. He cuts up Steve, he cuts up 6ix9ine, he cuts up all these people. And he came into me one day and we're like, dude, let's fucking open up 20 of these in the next 2-3 years. And then we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we just started our first one. It just opened up. And we're sitting there across all these barbers, and these guys make money, but not crazy money to just be blowing $5,000 on a mattress. And they're all like, "Yeah, we're going to buy this mattress. We all want to buy this mattress." Why? Because I'm sitting there selling them on the power of this mattress. I'm just like, dude, imagine if you could just go from sleeping 6 hours because of waking up in the middle of the night to sleeping 8. Imagine what that does for your energy in your life. Sleep's the most important thing. Where do you spend the most time other than work? You spend it in the bed. Why wouldn't you want to buy this bed? You're gonna go and buy an 8 Sleep. Elon bought an 8 Sleep. Elon actually tweeted about 8 Sleep. Oh, wow. They had a tweet and he responded to it. Really good product.
Damn.
So you're buying an 8 Sleep next.
Yeah.
This dude's buying an 8 Sleep.
Actually, 8sleep.com. Mattress.
Yeah, dude, you need to change it for sure. If you don't have an 8 Sleep, you need to change it. What are you doing if you don't have an 8 Sleep?
Every 3 years you need to change it?
Yeah, every year, dude. Yeah, so, I don't
know. Does it go up and down or like?
No, it's not one of those. Okay. I know what you're talking about. You used to have a mattress like that, but dude, this one's like a biohacking, like insane tech bed. Yeah. It's so comfortable too. You'll love it.
Gotcha.
See, I just sold a mattress powered by 8sleep.com. No. See, I'm not, but I believe in that product because I use it. So now I can sell it to people. I make $0 on 8 Sleep, but I want to go and I want to sell that product. Why? Because I believe in it. Well, it's just like that in sales. If you believe in something, you can sell it to anyone. Try to tell me that you don't need that mattress. I will use everything in my power to sell you that mattress because I believe in it.
Yeah. That is one thing I realize about sales too. A lot of people have to believe in the product, like your business, right? I feel like also you wouldn't be where it's at right now if you didn't really believe in the passion.
Correct. And most people in solar don't.
Yeah.
They're selling it for the money, and that's why they are where they are. Yeah. That's why the same people you're talking about, company to company, trying to find this, starting a new company.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of solar people that just sketchy stuff with the loans too.
Yeah.
And I realized that too, because every business has that. Like in my Amazon FBA business, a lot of people put a bad name to it, right? And that's the one thing I realized is just people in the space kind of like destroys, like they don't believe in it, but they're in it for the money.
Every space and every brand, by the way. Like even when cell phones first started, what was the biggest scam that cell phones used to have? Cell phones used to have these minute scams where it was basically just, I'm sure you remember this growing up. You buying minutes. Yeah. You're buying minutes. Oh, you want to talk internationally? Well, your minutes are more expensive. Oh, you want to talk to this person? You're buying minutes. Oh, we're out of minutes today. Oh, and then there's text messaging. Oh, yeah, you're paying per text. You get 500 texts a month. After that, we charge you 3 cents per text, right?
Yeah.
And then one day, some guy comes along and is like, unlimited minutes. Disrupts that whole industry. Now it's the standard. Now there's no such thing as buying minutes. And then data comes along and people are paying for data, and then boom, that scam comes out. Everyone's like, unlimited data. Right? So every industry has these these moments. Solar's still in the infant stage where people are buying minutes, but eventually that won't happen.
Yeah.
And what I've built a system that will be able to go through all of that stuff and is optimized towards the end user.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone else in between. I'm not here to optimize the salesperson. I'm not here to optimize anyone else. I'm here to give the customer the best product, because in turn, it's a cycle that's all connected. If I give the customer a best product, the salesperson will have the best experience and my employees will have the best experience if I give the customer the best product.
That is true.
Delivery is so important.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I used to work for Tesla, and I worked in the solar and the car for marketing.
Yep.
And the vision they had was like, I believed in it, because like everything they had planned, like for the car, the solar, for the house, and charging the car through the solar, when I used to talk to clients, and like when I used to market these products, right, in home stores and things like that. And I believed in it's a product that people want to buy, especially Tesla, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to sell themselves.
It's a brand.
It sells by itself.
It's a brand, yeah.
None of their employees are on commission.
Correct.
You know? And that's the products like you want to have when it comes to business, right? Like you say, your solar people, like everyone that you have in it, they believe in the product and the way speak, like with the passion. And you have to sell it like they need it, right?
Yep.
It's not like a want. So that's what I think my sales skills came in when I started working at Apple and Tesla.
Yeah, because you believe in the product. You use it every day. You know it's the best thing. But people try to sell a product, or worse, they have a good product, but they don't believe in it. And they're going out and they're learning all these sales tactics to sell, thinking that these sales tactics are going to make them successful.
Yeah.
No one will ever outsell someone that has conviction. If you give me two salespeople, you give me one guy that has conviction and works his ass off with no skills, no talent, and no background in sales, versus a guy that has 20 years sales experience, tons of skills, but no passion or conviction in the product. I take the person with conviction 10 times over 10.
And one thing I do also in my company that I don't know if you do, and so I bring in new people all the time to basically compete with them.
I love it.
Have you done
always,
that?
Dude, always.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm always telling people.
Okay.
I was telling my people the other day, I was like, 90% of you fucks are going to be gone in 4 years from AI.
Yeah.
Because AI is better than you. If you've seen some of these, I have an AI text bot now. You should see this thing, dude. This thing is wild. It sells solar and it does everything. Yeah. Now I actually just got a function. The guy texted me today and he was like, now what it does is it'll actually screenshot the house from Google Maps and send it to the customer to be like, is this your property, right? Question mark. Like, it's so crazy. Legit. And I'm like, you fucking motherfuckers that have been lacking and lazy, you are going to be out of a job. And then the last 10% of you that actually work and have conviction, you're going to utilize AI to be the most successful salespeople in the world.
That's true. And I heard it yesterday that people are using it for OnlyFans. Yeah.
Everything, dude. Everything. There's songs. You see all those Drake songs coming out. You see OnlyFans. You see, dude, everything is going to be AI and you got to be able to learn it. So I have my teams always obsessively focused on new technology, and AI is something that we incorporate into our life literally every day throughout my entire business.
I think it's also really great that you're really young, and a lot of older companies or older CEOs, they're like, oh, I don't need that new stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And they see why their sales are decreasing.
Correct.
You know?
They're just getting just like you talk about your friends, they get comfortable and complacent.
Yeah, that's true. So what do you think about Andrew Tate and his beliefs?
I think Tate is a very interesting character. There's a few things I'd say about Tate.
Yeah.
Number one, any person on planet Earth, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's this guy, every single person, if the government ever wants to take you down, they can take you down.
Yeah.
You could be the cleanest person. You could be a priest at a church who has never committed a single sin, and you're perfect from the day you were born. They can find something to lock you up. So what I can personally say is I don't know Andrew. I've never had a phone conversation with Andrew. Yeah. I didn't know Andrew before. So I can't say Andrew or Tristan are guilty or not guilty. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But all I do know is everything that I've heard from him, everything that I've seen from him is extremely logical. Yeah. And I totally agree with most of it. Sure, there's some stuff that I disagree with, but the things I disagree with a lot of times are clickbait. It's just him, getting people all wound up so that he can get more views and more marketing. And it's a genius marketing plan. I respect it. But most of what he says, I actually believe 75 to 80% of the world agrees with. I think he just says it in a way where people freak out. You know, if you ever notice his words, right? Andrew Tate, when he's talking to someone, it's pretty obvious biologically that men are stronger than women physically.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
You never see a woman that lifts as much as a man in the gym. Maybe rare scenarios where there's like super bodybuilder chick and this sim dude, but like overall, men lift more than women. Most people would sit here on a podcast and just have the conversation the way I did with you. How does Tate have that conversation? Number one, he doesn't call them women. He calls them females, which makes it more triggering to people. Number two, what does he say? He doesn't say, oh, men are stronger than females or males are stronger than females. He goes, females are weak.
Yeah.
Females are weaker than men. And people freak out. They're like, holy crap. Just marketing. The message is the same.
Yeah.
The end result and the belief is actually the same. It's actually proof. No one disagrees with that. There are very few people on planet Earth that probably disagree with that statement. But the way he said it and delivered it was deliberately done for marketing very clearly. So I respect the marketing angle, but I can't comment on who he was before or who he is today just because I don't know him day to day.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, he went viral with the stuff he said, but there's actual like description meaning to it of what he said, and he explains
I'll just say, who do I want my kid listening to? Yeah. If I have a son, he's 7 years old. Do I want him listening to Andrew Tate, or do I want him listening to his teacher that's having him draw out a picture of Pride Week?
Yeah,
I want him listening to Andrew Tate, not to the teacher that's telling him he should go and explore his feelings and see if he maybe feels like a girl today.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy to me because I told you I have a son. He's about to be a year old. I'm kind of scared to put him in a school. At this point, I think I'm going to homeschool him myself.
Yeah, you should.
At this point, because everything that's happening in this world, and when I grew up, that stuff never existed,
Correct.
Now, I was watching yesterday the new Fast and Furious movie, and the bad guy had nails painted and all this other shit going on. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this movie anymore. It's just imagine kids watching this movie, their thing is going to be okay to be like that.
Yeah. Did you see those kids in, I think it's Glendale, California? Have you seen what's going on over there?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, so in Glendale, California right now, and I'm actually super, super proud of these parents. Yeah. In Glendale, California right now, all the parents are protesting against the school because the school is pushing this huge LGBTQ, pride initiative. Yeah. And all these Armenian parents, right? Very similar to all these Islamic Muslim households. Very similar to all these Islamic Muslim households. They are, disciplined and they have strong ethics and core values, beliefs, and principles. And they don't want their kids learning that shit. So now all these parents are protesting outside the school and not sending their kids to the school. I love that. I'm proud of those people. That makes me excited. We need more of that in the world. Stand up for yourself. You're 18 years old, do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But when you're a kid, do not control the way a kid makes a decision. When I was a kid, I didn't know who I was. When I was a kid, I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
But as I grew older, I became more mature. You shouldn't be able to make that decision when you're 6 years old.
That is true. I mean, It's like this. I grew up in a third world country. I'm sure almost all of us did here, right? You're from Romania, Philippines.
He's from Romania, from Philippines. He's from Mexico.
Yeah. So it's crazy because I see how the world is going right now, and it's not good, man.
He's not from Mexico, so I just fuck with him always.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Here. Yeah, and it's just a scary place because, to be honest, I don't want to live here anymore. I rather grow up where I grew up, in Dubai, where there's actually core values, right? Yeah. There's actually a religion and a God people fear, right?
Yeah.
Even the religion.
Fear is important. I think fear is the most strong word you said right there because fear is extremely important, right? We always listen and respect people that we fear. We don't respect people that we don't fear. If I have a principal and I'm not scared of him, I will go and I will fuck off. But if I'm scared of my principal, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah. And it's just that, here, if you go to a Christian church, right? And it said, F God, right? Let's just say that, right? And if you go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, try that. You will die, like literally. And that's the thing. When people don't have fear, people get into, drinking alcohol, doing drugs, and all of these things. And I'm glad the struggles that I had, and also how my parents were strict with the religion, they made me wake up in the morning to pray 5 times a day, And I'm glad that happened, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So last question I want to ask before we end the podcast is, if I was 20 years old again, right? And fuck school, I went to school, by the way, finished at FIU, but I want to get into solar. What do I do?
If I'm 20 years old right now.
Yeah.
Actually, not me. If you're 20 years old right now, and you don't have a mission, you don't have a purpose, solar is the best thing you can do, because number one, you have the best mission on planet Earth. Number two, you have the best product on planet Earth. And number three, you have a vehicle to make as much money as you want. Go into that industry and knock doors. Forget about everything else. Just knock doors. Guarantee you, no matter what you do for the rest of your life, you will have learned skill sets and things that will carry you throughout the rest of your life. You'll be able to sell any product. You'll be able to convince anyone you want of anything. And you will have the best vehicle and opportunity to do it with solar. And let's say after you move on from solar, you want to do something else, at least you got the skill sets to be able to go and push that into another channel. If you learn the skill sets of door-to-door selling solar, you can sell anything.
That's true. It's awesome, guys. So we'll wrap it up right here. Thank you for coming in all the way from Miami. I appreciate you guys for watching. And what can they follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, so everyone can find me at Zain Jan on Instagram, ZainJan, or you can find me on YouTube, just type in Zain Jan, or you can find me on TikTok, Zain Jan.
Okay. And anybody who wants to work for your company, what they can find
you? So you can just DM me on Instagram, and I have a team that's in my DMs that will send you to our team.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, brother.
Cool, awesome. Awesome the podcast. Thank you for having me. Good shit, man.